Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? It's Thursday, baby. The weekend's coming. It's coming. What is going on? It's good to see you guys. Hey, oh, wait. No. There we go. Yo. What is going on? Man. We got the news. Of course, right? So we'll do the news and day 17 of Breath of the Wild. Is that right? God dang, man, I'm losing track. Day 17, I think, is what we're at here. Yeah. All right, solid. Day 17. It'll be a bit of a shorter day. It'll be a bit of a shorter day for streaming. I've had something come up for this afternoon I've got to take care of, so we'll still get gaming in. It just won't be quite as long of a day as we normally do. So, know that. We'll still get some gaming in. But we won't be going, it'll be a couple hours short probably. A couple hours short. So, be prepared for that. Weird. The emotes didn't show up in the overlay. That's odd. That's kind of weird. What that's about. There they are. Okay, I don't know. Weird stuff, man. Had to reload them. All right, man. Well, it's good to see you guys, as always, man. Let's go ahead and hop in here, get to work on finding out what's new, what's going on in the video gaming industry, right? What's going on in the world of video games before we jump into the gaming segment of Day 17 of Breath of the Wild, all right? Let's see what we got. First of all, check it. We've got the Crypt of the Necrodancer soundtrack this morning. That's what we've been listening to. Very, very good, very extensive soundtrack for a rhythm-based adventure RPG-esque title, okay? Cool game. Check it out. Amazing soundtrack. All kinds of, even outside of the base soundtrack. You buy the OST for this, at least on Steam anyways, you get a whole bunch of like remixes and stuff like that to go along with it. It's very, very cool. So if you're enjoying the music this morning, I highly recommend you go grab the OST. Check it out. Very, very good stuff in my opinion. All right, we'll go ahead and cut it. Funny enough, that was the end of that song. Perfect timing. And we'll get in here and get to work on the gaming news. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Two new games? We saw one new game yesterday. Oh, that coffee's real hot. Ooh-wee. We'll take a look at that. See if there's something we don't know there. Epic is delisting almost every Unreal game. Okay. See what that's about. We've already hit on this. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. TLDR. As we get closer to automated vehicles, driverless vehicles, the more entertainment is going to be ingrained in these because we won't have to pay attention to the actually driving the cars anymore. So it makes sense that more and more gaming applications and platforms are going to be ingrained into the technology that is already embedded into those systems, right? As we are seeing with Valve's Steam application being integrated as part of the Tesla vehicles now, right? Yeah, the Steam Deck had a phenomenal first year, no doubt. Yeah, it did very well. We know that. Bleak News Day, maybe. Bleak News Day. Yeah, again, if you're not aware, man, a lot of gaming platforms and even platforms like Twitch tend to do end of year reviews or end of year summaries for your statistics, things like that. So for gaming platforms, it's like what games did you play, what achievements did you get, and it's just to kind of give you a nice overview of what you accomplished for on that platform over the year. Twitch does the same thing for a lot of different categories, depending upon mainly within the areas of viewing, being a viewer on Twitch as well as being a streamer on Twitch. If you engage in being a content creator as well, you know. But a lot of platforms have started doing this year of the end summary for people, and PlayStation's doing it. Nintendo does it. Twitch does it. So a lot of platforms do it. If you're into that, go check it out. You can probably find some pretty good stats for yourself out there. But Call of Duty will not be rolling out their tracking system. Too soon? Activision? Jesus. Oh, take a drink of coffee on that one. Ah. Arc 2 boss promises something which has never been done. Time travel. It's probably time travel. What? What is this? Inside Dead Space number 4. Oh, this is like an ongoing, I guess, article they've been writing up. Yeah, we'll stay away from it. It's a little bit too in depth, I think, for what we're trying to get done here. Hit on some major topics for the gaming industry. Will Judas be different to Bioshock? It's hard to tell. It looks very similar. If you haven't seen the trailer for Judas, Judas is being made by the same devs of Bioshock, and dude, it I literally thought it was going to be called Bioshock something. It looks that similar. We know Bioshock 4 is in development. Supposed to be an open world jam. I don't know. But who knows? That was just initial impression. I mean, before they announced the name of the game at the Game Awards, when we saw the trailer, I literally thought it was going to be Bioshock. It I had no idea who the dev was or anything like that. It looked very Bioshock. So we'll have to see. I think, Bioshock's an amazing series. I felt like the first two were a bit stood out quite a bit more than Infinite did. Uh, Not that Infinite was necessarily bad. It just wasn't great either. Which I felt like the first Bioshock, both Bioshock 1 and 2 were pretty phenomenal, and so it's not necessarily bad per se for them to come out with another game that for it to resemble Bioshock, I would say isn't necessarily bad because Bioshock was good, but it's like, why are you going to come out with more games that look just like Bioshock and call it something else instead of maybe doing something different? Yeah, I don't know. That seems weird. Maybe they're stuck in Bioshock mode or something and they just can't make anything else and they just have to name them different things. RE Village is going to receive free VR mode for PlayStation. That's cool. Player feedback addressed in the latest patch for Boulder Gate 3. We'll take a peek at that. Let's go ahead and pivot into our other search here. We already knew this was happening. God of War TV series officially ordered by Amazon Prime. We already knew this was happening. So this isn't necessarily news. I'm not going to dive into that. We knew that the adaptation of God of War was coming to Amazon. That's not new news. Last of Us Part 3, reportedly Naughty Dog's next game. Fans split over High on Life's dig at video game critics, huh? Take a peek at that. The reason I don't think it's worth diving into this, like we were talking about the will Judas be different than Bioshock? It's really hard to tell. Till that game releases, you're not really going to be able to find out. There's going to be speculation. They're going to be able to kind of like throw darts at whether or not it will or will not be right now, but they're not going to have any kind of substantial footing to go off of here in regards to whether it actually, in fact, will or will not be similar or different to Bioshock, whichever way we want to go with that. So it's not worth diving into. There's our buddy Gamer Extreme's favorite article. Epic being sued by parents for the Fortnite game being addicting. Where's Gamer at, dude? Steam gets a surprising new top-selling game. We'll see what that is. Ooh, Hogwarts Legacy video reveals broomstick gameplay. And Cadavra Curse. Yeah. Let's go. We've already got an article up for that. We hit on this yesterday. The Witcher 3's big new gen update is broken, causing like bunch of bugs and performance issues and stuff like that. What we read yesterday was especially on PC. Is this talking PC or other platforms too? Yeah, PC. causing a bunch of folks, people to roll it back. Yeah, players are rolling back the version to the previous, which is still riddled with bugs, actually. Apparently, I mean, at least it wasn't like dealing with a lot of performance issues, so. Starfield bring back fan favorite Skyrim feature. All right, let's stick with these. 1 second. All right. Sorry. So Starfield bringing back fan favorite Skyrim feature. Starfield developer Bethesda Game Studios has confirmed that it will be bringing back a beloved feature that was last seen in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim with Bethesda's last single-player RPG Fallout 4. The studio made a somewhat controversial decision to lock players out from completing quest lines associated with various factions, depending on who they aligned themselves with. And while factions will again play an important role in Starfield, Bethesda has now revealed that it won't be locking out of quests, which is similar to how this system operated in Skyrim. In a new video conversation featuring Starfield quest designer Will Shen, it was asked whether or not players will be able to experience every faction's questline in full without fear of losing access to later missions. Shin verified that factions in Starfield won't end up clashing with one another, which is something that happened in Fallout 4. Instead, players will be able to join every different group that is seen throughout Starfield, won't be required to do multiple playthroughs to see each independent route. This is something that fans have loved for quite some time when it comes to Skyrim, Oblivion, and various other titles from Bethesda, so it's not much of a shock to see the studio go in this direction once again. We also discussed really early on, like, okay, do we make some of the factions get in conflict with each other? We decided we really want to make sure that you can play through all the faction lines independently of each other. We really want the stories to be a little more personal. You're influencing the direction of where this faction is going to go. You don't necessarily end up as the head of every single faction in the game, but obviously all the major characters in every faction questline will be reflecting on your choices. It can have far-reaching consequences for what the faction is and what it cares about. For now, the biggest question associated with Starfield remains its launch date and whether or not it will actually feel good on release coming from Bethesda. All that we currently know is that the game launch at some point within the first half of 2023. When it does hit store shelves, it will be playable across Xbox Series X and S and PC platforms. All right, we'll see. Resident Evil Village to receive free VR mode for PlayStation VR 2. That's cool. That's actually really nice, considering how much PlayStation VR 2 is costing, along with a lot of the games being made for it. It's nice for people to be able to get a potential free VR experience of a game they might already own. Owners of Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil Village Gold Edition will receive a free DLC for the PlayStation's VR 2 when it launches on February 22nd. The mode will support the entire campaign in VR, utilizing 4K HDR display, eye tracking, and 3D audio. You can experience horror like never before. Check out more info from the announcement below. Enter the world of Survivor. Yeah. Survival horror once again with the Resident Evil Village VR mode. The immersive new mode will be available alongside the launch of PlayStation VR 2 on February 22nd as free DLC for all PlayStation 5 owners of either Resident Evil Village or RE Village Gold Edition. It's random mode time. Go. VR mode supports the entire campaign and lifts the award-winning experience to new heights. A deeper and more captivating adventure awaits the PlayStation VR 2 as Ethan Winter's journey takes full advantage of the headset's advanced features. VR mode utilizes the 4K HDR display, eye tracking, and 3D audio to make the Resident Evil village more realistic and intense than ever, soaking the village's richly detailed atmosphere in virtual reality, including the ornate chambers of Castle I forget how to pronounce her name, dude. Dimitrescu, is that it? I think that's close. And prepare to feel truly dwarfed by the larger-than-life characters and creatures that lurk within. Players can hold up their arms to guard against enemies that get too close for comfort. Weapons also feel tangibly more realistic in VR mode, with new gameplay elements that dial up the immersion, such as dual wielding and natural motion controls for reloading firearms and brandishing knives. Sick, man. Sick. I saw a little bit of some gameplay of Biohazard on PSVR 1, and it looked very good. Feel like they did a pretty solid job with it. So I imagine this will probably be pretty solid as well. I think. Player feedback addressed in latest patch for Baldur's Gate 3. Or what some of our community members have been referring to this game as, what is it? Divinity Original Sin 3. Today, Larian Studios and Jeff Keighley hosted the panel from Hell Holy Night livestream. Patch 9 was revealed along with the dev team responding to early access player feedback. A new class, 2 new subclasses, level 5 progression, and more are now available. You can check out the announcement below. Available in-game today, Patch 9 for Baldur's Gate 3 is in essence a response to the player community's feedback throughout early access, including the Paladin class, a reworked reaction system, and the ability to progress to level 5. Paladins vary in their specific missions and ideals, but all Paladins have sworn an oath to stand with goodness against the encroaching evils of the world, whether they've sworn an oath of devotion, an oath of ancients, or an oath of another kind. Their ultimate goal is to uphold justice and righteousness above all else. But what happens to a Paladin who forsakes that sacred promise? Yeah. Can there be redemption? No. Evil Paladin. A hidden Paladin subclass, Oathbreaker, gives players the opportunity to explore this path. Will they seek a return to grace, or will they find that their oath was worth breaking after all? D&D players will recognize level 5 as a significant power boost for all classes, a moment where your party is finally able to take on formidable, previously insurmountable challenges. Spellcasters do especially well at level 5, gaining access to 3rd level spells like Fireball, Counterspell, and Animate Dead. Play your cards right, and you may just raise your very own zombie army. Oh, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that looks good. New class Paladin, bursting with noble spirit and ardent reverence. The Paladin class is marked by the ability to unleash devastating combos in combat while providing aid and protection to their party when necessary. 2 subclasses, Oath of Devotion. Following the ideal of the knight in shining armor, these paladins act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. This sounds boring. Holy Rebuke. Call upon your oath to grant an ally a vengeful aura that deals 1d4 radiant damage to anyone who hits them with a melee attack. Oath of the Ancients. Paladins who walk this path fight on the side of light in the eternal struggle against darkness, vowing to preserve the sanctity of life and the beauty of nature. Healing Radiance. Call upon your oath to let nature heal all nearby allies. Diving Smite. Smite. Paladins always with the smiting. When using a melee attack, you may choose to spend a spell slot to deal radiant damage to your target in addition to your weapon damage. Hidden subclass, Oathbreaker. Paladins who stray from their sacred oaths become Oathbreakers. Sorry, guys. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Which comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages. Embrace your newfound powers for good or ill, or start down the path of redemption. Level 5, players can now progress to level 5. This makes for a significant power boost for all classes, opening up 3rd level spells like Fireball to those with spellcasting abilities. Can we just turn Oathbreaker into Skeletor? Hidden subclass, Oathbreaker, aka Skeletor, right? Basically like a necromancer esque, lich esque. Oh, hey, breaker. Nice, dude. I like it. Esque, like evil paladin. Yeah, Skeletor. Perfect. What's up, dude? How you doing? Revamped reaction systems. Reactions are a unique type of combat action that can be triggered by various combat circumstances. For example, an enemy in melee range running away can trigger an attack of opportunity. Players can now choose whether or not to use a reaction when one is triggered, allowing for more strategic combat. Flying. Fly spell can be used in and out of combat to do just that. Fly. Spread your wings. Fly to otherwise out of reach treasure or out of reach of enemies. AKA summon Pidgeotto. Right? Rain. Lots of rain. Yeah, we've had some rain too, dude. It rained a lot last night, actually, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot more. A little bit today, maybe. Slight chance. So it's like cooling down, and then all weekend it's really going to get cold for us. But the moisture's kind of leaving for us, man. Sorry about all the rain. I mean, I like it, dude. So, I know that you don't. You got to get out in it, though. Here, if anybody needed to see the, wanted to take a look at that stuff yourself for the Boulder's Gate, there it is. I got the yawns this morning. Sorry. The Last of Us Part 3, reportedly Naughty Dog's next game. A recent leak suggests that The Last of Us Part 3 will be Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann's next title from the acclaimed studio. As reported by Insider Gaming, a recent leak claims The Last of Us Part 3 will be Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann's next game. Druckmann previously led the development of 2013's The Last of Us and worked on the video game studio's Uncharted franchise. The leak suggests The Last of Us Part 3 is one of 3 games reportedly in development at Naughty Dog. The other 2 are the PC port of The Last of Us Part 1 and Factions 2, a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game. With the expansive lineup of future Last of Us games, it's unclear when a third mainline installment will release. As mentioned earlier, Naughty Dog has a lot on its plate development-wise. Another leak regarding the Uncharted franchise suggests an unknown developer will head a reboot, with Naughty Dog offering assistance. Published information aligns with what Naughty Dog lead game designer Robert Cogburn discussed regarding the studio making multiple titles of the same genre. The release date for The Last of Us Part 3 is unclear as of writing. The Last of Us from HBO is set to premiere on HBO and stream from HBO Max starting on January 15th. So Last of Us Part 3 is starting development. Fans split over High on Life's dig at video game critics. I need to talk to Pinky. Pinky started playing this yesterday. What's the It's being rated pretty nice on Steam, man. %, creeping up on 1,000 reviews at this point. Bro, this is a review you leave. This is a review you leave. I like it. It's good game and fun. $8 worth of time. I like it. It's good game and fun. Good game. Decent game, not a lot of content. This is one of the things I've been telling people. Graphics are good. Voice lines are good, but gets repetitive fast. No replay value. That's one of the things I've been wondering as well. Would recommend if the game was $20. This is exactly what I was looking for. I was worried about this kind of issue here. This game is $60. We're talking about a game that is $60. And I looked up yesterday how long to beat, right? So check this out. How long to beat? You're looking at, yeah, probably somewhere around. We'll say 12 to 13 hours. 12 to 13 hours. Okay. And that's not rushing it. That's definitely taking your time, getting a lot of things done in the game. Maybe not everything done in the game, but 12 to 13 hours looks like a pretty nice average completion time for people, right? And this is what I was talking about yesterday. Now, the thing to keep in mind here is this game is a day one release on Game Pass, right? So there are a lot of people that get to play this game for free if you have Game Pass, which is amazing. That's great. Cool. So getting a game like this where you can get potentially 12, 13 hours of entertaining gameplay for just what you're paying for the subscription service, cool. But to be forking over $60 for a title that you're going to get 12, maybe 12 hours of gameplay out of, and there's no replayability in this game, that's a bad price point. That's a bad price point. I would be more willing to accept something like 40. I think 35 is probably more appropriate. 35, 40, okay, dude. You know? But that's an issue, man. You're talking about 12 total hours of gameplay, probably, and no real replayability. I don't know. I don't see that being close to worth $60 of my money. I just don't. Other people might. For me, I don't see it. Fans split over High on Life's dig at video game critics. The sci-fi comedy shooter High on Life, it's worth it. Yeah, Wick, worth it for you, buddy. Yeah, bought it twice. Sick, dude. How many smoothies does that equal, dude? Just to play once? How many smoothies, man? You know? Those Chicago dog smoothies? How many? Um those those uh vegan free. That's what they're referred to as, right? The vegan free smoothies. That's what you're you're crazy, dude. The sci-fi comedy shooter High on Life is proving to be a bit of a divisive game for many reasons. For one, it's a game from the mind of Justin Roiland, longtime voice actor now mostly known for playing both lead characters in Rick and Morty. Roiland has a particularly brand of comedy that doesn't jive with everybody, and his iconic high-pitched grating and stammering voices have gotten stale for some. It's not to say it's an unfunny game as a whole, as plenty of people love it. High on Life just speaks to some people more than others. On the other hand, though, there are some parts of the game that even its biggest fans have a hard time defending. Some of the most commonly criticized parts of High on Life dialogue comes from its meta comedy, jokes that break the fourth wall and reference itself as a video game, like when players stab Gene. Oh, good, dude. Oh, sick. Okay, great. Great. Oh, nice, dude. Fantastic. Hey, did you get to see all your stats though? Too soon? Um, what about those stats? Did you get to see all your stats? That's not to say multiplayer stuff. Oh, yeah, it's just what the Warzone stuff or whatever. Does it track your multiplayer stats over why they can't figure out Warzone? Yeah. What were they saying? What they came out with? The reasoning they came out with. What was it? It was something about the population or something like that. Yeah, I don't get. Yeah, it sounded like a really stupid reason to me. Like it didn't make sense. Yeah, yeah. I had forgotten that it's not all the multiplayer. It's just that Warzone stuff, right? Yeah, my bad. That's not to say it's an unfunny game as a whole, but dude. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad that they brought back your go-to map, dude. That's sick. Not to say it's an unfunny game as a whole, as plenty of people love it. High on Life just speaks to some people more than others. There are some parts of the game that even its biggest fan have a hard time defending. Some of the most commonly criticized parts of High on Life dialogue come from its meta comedy. Jokes that break the fourth wall and reference itself as a video game, like when players stab Gene. One line in particular has been drawing a lot of attention for all the wrong reasons. After the player comes across yet another pipe during a repetitive sequence, Royland's character Kenny I think it's supposed to be shouts out the lazy game development, calls on prominent gaming news outlets Kotaku, Polygon, and IGN to knock us down a couple points. Interesting. High on Life calls out its own lazy game design. In particularly viral tweet that responded to a clip of this particular bit of dialogue, former Giant Bomb journalist Ben Pack compared it to the site's review of 2009's Eat Led, The Return of Matt Hazard, an apt comparison as a comedy shooter with meta references and a big name attached to it. Packer called that the worst thing a game can do is break the third wall and point out something bad in it because you still have to play it right. When the fourth wall is broken, characters reference the audience. When the third wall is broken, characters reference the medium they are in this case, a video game. Essentially, the fact that Royland's character identifies the bad game design and owns up to it isn't enough to justify it. Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you this. I don't think most people that are passionate about the gaming industry want to see that. Whenever I see something like this, I think of the Giant Bomb Matt Hazard principle, which states the worst thing a game can do is break the third wall and point out something bad in it because that means you still have to play it. Lots of fans and critics alike agreed with this sentiment, and lots of responses specifically brought up the Stanley Parable as an example of meta comedy done right. Some users described this High on Life dialogue as lamp shading, an attempt to soften criticism which backfires because the problem isn't actually addressed. Right. It's like trying to get ahead of what you are expecting a critique to do, but that's not good. If you already know that something's wrong, if you see something as an issue, why are you not fixing it ahead of time? Rather than taking a dig at it to try to get ahead of the game. That's bad form, man. Some users describe this, others questioned whether there was any effort put into the joke, as many compared it to Borderlands dialogue that some consider cringy and too self-referential. For the most part, meta jokes in the game land, even if High on Life crosses the line sometimes. Fans and critics seem to agree that making players go through these lazy parts of the game, even after criticizing them, is not so funny. Look, man, you're really treading on like thin gaming ice, as it were, in that situation. There are a lot of people that have dealt with too many issues of bad game development, bad game design, that don't care to deal with it anymore, especially to have the developer knowingly throw it in their face as well. So I would highly recommend developers avoid this kind of thing. That's not what a lot of gamers want to be seeing. Dark and eerie this morning? Nice, dude. That sounds amazing. Still kind of like what they've done with multiplayer. It needs more content, but I like it. Good, dude. I'm glad. I don't know. Maybe at some point, dude, I'll have to get Call of Duty and actually show you how to own those little edgelords. You know what I mean? I think your beard gets in the way. As much as I like your beard, dude. I'm just playing, bro. You had a 103 kill game last night? How long were you playing that match, though? Like 2 hours? How long did that match last, dude? 103 kills. 103 kills, dude. Jeez, that's insane, bro. I mean, all matches kind of they all have the same unless it's like a custom match, right? They all have died 118. That KD though, dude, kind of leveling out a little bit. They all kind of have the same default length, right? But I don't know what the length of a match actually is. 103 kills. That's pretty nice, dude. Yeah, I mean, usually there's like a default timer, right? Most games, like there's a default timer, but it's unless there's a custom match, it's. I mean, you can usually change it in a custom match, but you don't normally get into those kind of games unless you're like playing with a bunch of friends or something. Um, oh, you got two chopper gunners, so they're just like mowing people down. That's awesome, dude. Death comms were on point. Sick, dude. Yeah. Yo, how are you feeling about the proximity chat stuff? Are people still using that, or are people just like not using mics in game? What's your take on that now that you've been playing for a while? Because proximity chat was one of those things that people were really kind of up in arms about with the Modern Warfare whenever it first was like in beta and stuff. People aren't using it. Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. Peter, what's up? What's up, friendo? How are you, man? Happy Thursday. People aren't using it. Every once in a while, you get an idiot who trolls. Yeah, I mean, I would expect that too. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I mean, this is kind of a bad play in my opinion on the devs for High on Life. If you know something's wrong with your game, fix it, dude. Don't just leave it in there and then actually make it a point to identify it yourself as a way of like trying to get ahead of what you think critics are going to point out anyways. That's not a good play, dude. That is not a good play. You don't want to do that in this industry, man. That does not feel good. So happy Friday Eve, dude. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're almost there, man. Steam gets a surprising new top selling game. The latest game to jump to the top spot of Steam's top sellers chart is perhaps a bit of a surprise. With 2022 winding down, most of the biggest video game releases of the year have already come and gone. Titles like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, and Dwarf Fortress have already arrived and have been consistent presences on Steam's overall sales chart since their respective launches. While those games will surely continue to sell at a high volume moving forward, they've since been bested by a new title that just hit Steam. Dude, are you kidding me? Time of this writing, Steam's latest top-selling game happens to be High on Life. Modern Warfare 2 was. Modern Warfare 2 was the top seller, Peter, but now apparently High on Life has taken it over. So it is popular. It is popular. This is kind of what I was just hitting on though. Like one of the reasons that it's popular because especially because who's behind the creative mind behind this, right? I mean, Rick and Morty, right? There are a lot of Rick and Morty fans out there, and so they're like, oh my god, they're making a video game too, and they're gonna jump all over this. Yeah, it's free in Game Pass. Yeah, that's what I've been saying to people. Xbox Game Pass, it's free, and this is the issue I have with it. I was just bringing this up probably about 7 or 8 minutes ago, Peter. This is my thing, and I'll touch on it real quick again. High on Life is $60 on Steam. This game is $60 on Steam, and we've already looked up how long to beat. It's taking people an average of about 12 to 13 hours to beat this game. And from the reviews that I'm gathering, it's entertaining, but there's no kind of like replayability in this game or anything like that. So if you're not playing this for free on Game Pass, you're apparently, yeah, well, for people that have Game Pass, right? But for anybody else, what you're potentially doing is going and spending $60 on a game on Steam that you're going to get 12, probably about, and that's not a rushed playthrough. Okay, we're talking about taking your time kind of playthrough for 12 hours. So 12 hours of gameplay, probably really pushing it, and no kind of replayability. $60 does not feel worth to me. So, other people might feel different about that, but that feels like a really, really, really small amount of entertainment for $60 for me in the realm of video games. I would be more willing to pay like maybe 35 for something like that, you know? So, well, that's because it's two different platforms, right? So, which I'm sure you can probably buy it on Microsoft Store too, you know? Yeah, I know, Wick. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Again, for me, specifically, this is one of the things I was worried about. This game was very intriguing. And whenever I first saw that they were making this game, I was like, oh, dude, this looks like it could be really cool. Well, Peter, it depends. It depends. It's somewhere around there. It's somewhere around there. But they're also rolling out a family plan. It's already in the beta phase. It's in Ireland and Brazil, or Colombia. Colombia and Ireland right now. They've rolled out the family plan for Game Pass subscription, and it actually makes it. It's like so up to 5 people can get in on a Game Pass subscription together as like a friend or family plan, and it actually cuts your cost down significantly by like a third, or maybe a little bit more than that. So right now, yeah, it's right around there, like $16 a month, something like that. But they're rolling out a family plan, which will actually reduce the cost of the Game Pass for people that are willing to get in on a plan together with friends or family by quite a bit. So that's going to be rolling out pretty soon. It's already out in certain places, just not all over the world yet. But again, yeah, I don't see it, man. That cost will eventually start climbing. Yep, it will. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're not wrong. Look, this is one of the things I point out to people though. Like Game Pass is changing the gaming industry, just like Netflix did for TV and movie. That side of the entertainment industry was absolutely changed by Netflix primarily as the initial big streaming service, right? Um, so you'll take a look at what Game Pass is and what it's been doing. It's changing the gaming industry. And people go, well, yeah, but like look at PlayStation's is cheaper. I have people say this to me all the time, talking about how PlayStation's subscription service is cheaper per month. Yeah, by a little bit. But if you go take a look at a side-by-side comparison of the big thing that PlayStation subscription service is missing, which is day one releases for their platform. If you looked at a year of PS Plus, how much that costs compared to a year of Xbox, right? All you have to do is pay for one day one release on PlayStation, because you don't get day one releases on PS Plus, right? They don't release their software for PlayStation console on their subscription service. You have to buy those, as opposed to Xbox that releases their day one games on their console on their subscription service. All it takes is purchasing one of those games that releases on day one, and it bumps that up way over what you pay for Game Pass. So people bring that up to me. They're like, yeah, PlayStation's is just cheaper. And I'm like, look at this though, And people are like, oh, wow, you're right. I didn't think about it like that. So Game Pass is absolutely changing the way gaming works. And I think it's inevitable. Prices rise. Unfortunately, I always talk about how pricing monetization in the gaming industry is continues to be a big obstacle for people getting into gaming and being able to access content they want to try and play, and that sucks. Which is why I always advocate free content as much as possible. Try to promote free content as much as possible. But Game Pass is, in my opinion, a very, very, very good thing for people to get in on. It gives you a large amount of content to always be engaging in. It's hard to argue with that. And day one releases too. Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it, Peter. Yeah, I mean you're kind of at their will, as it were, for what they're going to release. As so you've got to buy in, in that understanding, no doubt about it. The main reason why High on Life is being such a success on Steam so far is surprising because Squanch's previous release, Trover Saves the Universe, never really blew up the same way. While that game was somewhat hindered by the fact that it was only playable via VR at first, it still didn't get off to a hot start as hot of a start as High on Life has this week. Also worth noting that High on Life happened to launch directly onto Xbox Game Pass when it released within the past day. Despite this, to still see that the game is selling at a high volume on Steam is a bit unexpected, especially when PC users could simply subscribe to Game Pass for a much lower amount of money in order to play it. Yeah. All in all, Squanch Games has to be thrilled with how High on Life is performing so far. Even more so since the game is also currently boasting a very positive rating on Steam. Yeah, this is one thing that's kind of crazy. Is on Steam, it's like right up close to like 90% rating. But on Metacritic, it's like a 75, which is kind of weird. Yeah. So yeah, quite often like old EA games will be. Hogwarts Legacy video reveals broomstick gameplay and Avada Kedavra curse, baby. Yeah. Slytherin all the way, dude. Hogwarts Legacy got a massive new update that showcases a half hour of combat, open world exploration, and the fabled Avada Kedavra killing curse. For those that don't know, the Avada Kedavra spell is known as the killing curse because, well, its one and only purpose is to end a life. It's one of the most powerful spells, largely because it cannot simply be commanded at will. You have to really mean it. You have to know that you want to take someone's life, and that's why it's also so chilling when it's used by a character like Voldemort, who just kills people left and right. Look, dude, after I get in here, Voldemort's going to look like Hagrid. You know what I'm saying? Once I get in here and establish my presence in Hogwarts Legacy, people are going to forget all about Voldemort, all right? The only spell I know is bibbity bobbity. It should be boop the snoot. Bibbity bobbity boop the snoot. It was previously confirmed the killing curse would be in Hogwarts Legacy, and it seems that your very own witch or wizard will have that psychotic, bloodthirsty craving like Voldemort if you so choose. A new Hogwarts Legacy gameplay stream revealed a bunch of new gameplay and even showed off the player using the Avada Kedavra curse on someone in combat, completely draining the enemy of their health. The developers noted that they want to ensure the curse's effects were faithfully depicted in the game, even in extreme situations. There will be a bit of a cooldown, so you can't just run around mowing everyone down with a curse. Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to... It sounds very OP. Stream also revealed gameplay of the player exploring the open world by broom and even on the back of a hippogriff mount. If you're interested in Hogwarts Legacy, you can check out the meaty live stream below. I mean, here's the hoping that WB does a decent job with this. There's a lot of hype around it. I'm going to link this for you guys. This is supposed like a 30-minute video, I think. So I'm just gonna pop it up real quick. Yeah.
Something about kind of like the sensation of everything being open to you, and just I love the proximity that.
Now see, this is the kind of mount I can probably deal with,
and
as long as it's not named
Roach. I want to talk about it just because I feel like you know, the brooms are
30 minutes, yeah, dude.
Of all those feelings of exhilaration.
That's why I'm just gonna skip through here a little bit and take a look at some stuff.
I have a broom and it's done. I actually kind of like some of the mechanics in it. So you see in the lower right, there's a meter there, and occasionally as Andrew's kind of flying up or flying down, you might notice it graining or not. And this isn't the present day where all the brooms are well known and advanced.
Oh my God, dude.
And everything that we know and love. This is an early time where they're still trying to figure out, you know,
hold
the
on,
3,000
dude.
yet. We're at the 11. So.
Oh my goodness, I'm just so speechless right now because this is just so beautiful. The world just looks so. By the way, the broom, is that like the only one, or can you upgrade that broom?
Yeah, so we have a shop in Hogsmeade, actually a broom shop, and so that sells a variety of different brooms. And it was important to us that the player could customize themselves based on their own aesthetic. So they're purely cosmetic, but if you talk to the shopkeep and help him out, he'll actually sell upgrades.
Oh, wick, dude.
Yeah, and those upgrades will make it so that where normally
it looks pretty good, dude.
You can only fly.
Looks pretty solid.
You can only go at max speed. It's kind of like
I mean, look, the thing is, like,
only go at max speed
obviously we want to see
the meter
gameplay,
going
right?
down,
This looks cool, man.
And as you raise
looks
into
neat.
the air, you'll notice the meter drop.
Looks pretty
so
good.
Those upgrades will allow you to increase that distance from the ground. And the
dude,
owner at the sporting goods
I'm much more worried about how the game feels, you know.
He's trying to perfect
the
hey, and know it better. You can participate that and get better and better brooms through that.
And I love that mechanic encourages you to actually explore the world and kind of stay close to the ground. It's not just a travel mechanic, point A to point B. You're not just flying.
I'm glad it looks good, but man,
beautiful.
It's hard for me.
As well, there's lots to.
I'm always going to be more interested in
got this kind of surfing
how nice the game plays. How do the mechanics feel? You know what I mean? Does it feel polished, or does it feel clunky and rough? You know, like. It looks good. It looks good, and I'm glad.
We're actually gonna land here.
I feel like this universe needed a game like this, and I think that's where there's a lot of hype around it.
Because that's what we refer to it as. And so we all know from lore that Hogsmeade is the only all-wizarding village within Britain, but we wanted other opportunities to kind of meet other characters out here.
1800s.
Oh, check that out, dude! The hippogriff.
Like it feels so authentic. Like it just, it's part of it.
Yeah, I love this vista too, and I'm gonna have Andrew stop here. We're gonna use a bit of dev magic to change the seasons. Actually, I want you to see what this world looks like,
bruh,
covered in snow.
Yes, yes, please. I love snow.
I hope this is good. I'm excited to play it. Oh, these guys.
Yard, enter the front doors. Some ways
that
we'll probably talk about to adjust that. But I don't know. I don't know if there are things on the screen that you just have questions about.
Well, like I see like little blue things popping from the enemies. Also,
it actually has some like.
Well, it's like so in the community we call it the ancient magic sign. I don't know if that's how it's called.
Yeah,
in the game.
So the community is.
Some of the mechanics behind it remind me of The Witcher, dude.
Your ancient magic community.
Oh, so it is ancient magic.
That is, yeah. So as your abilities in the game keep growing and you become
just the way it looks like it moves and plays and stuff, which is crazy.
Your own abilities. You start.
It's not the same developer at all.
Powers, you'll see the R1 button appearing throughout the game. That's an ancient magic throw, we call it, that allows you to kind of like draw an object to you and fling it at an enemy.
Okay.
But whenever you see the R1 or the L1 plus R1 appear over somebody's head, that's an ability to cast a very devastating and powerful ancient magic spell to do a ton of damage against the character.
I see.
And the way that manifests itself depends on the type of enemy that you're fighting. And you'll see a wide variety of enemies.
I hope this is really fleshed out. You know what I mean? I hope this is a very deep
that force him to move.
Game
and
that keeps people wanting to play and progress and get
And that's actually a good link to
better,
Binge Magic
deeper,
Movies.
more
And
powerful,
the reason I say that is
better
because
loot, better
you're doing
powers.
everything in combat,
You know what I
like
mean?
the
Like,
throwing and
that's
doing
what this
different
game is going to
abilities
have to
with
keep
your
people
talents.
interested
There are
in.
different ways to get that meter to build faster and faster. But one of the most effective base ways to build up that meter fast, that way you can launch these devastating attacks
Dude,
you want to, is to actually perform combos. So you see that combo here, and it's almost like your emotions are building up.
I'm
And
not
basically, that builds up
I
enough
don't
that you
even-
can attack
I
someone.
can't even,
But as the combo
like-
meter builds up, at some point you strike someone, and a piece of their magic kind of
Acknowledging
falls
that
out of
is
them. You'll see the
not
blue
even the
orbs
play,
in
dude.
the game world.
I know
And
better.
there's something that only you can see in the narrative, in the world. And it's another reason to move on to the battlefield. You can go up and collect those things. And
Oh
then
my
they get
God.
big. And we can also spec properties and to tweak what it does.
Oh yeah,
And
gear
I
upgrades and
mentioned earlier
stuff.
that you can make anything look like anything. The collection of
Oh, dude.
appearances, we call it, or cosmetics we've
Oh,
been referring
yeah.
to in this stream. Those
It
types
was
of things
orange
you
and
can
yucky.
use, and you can apply a look to any other look. So if you get a piece
Yeah.
of blue, you put it on, it will look like that, but you can
You
change
loved
it to
it,
look
dude.
like whatever you want.
That's so cool. And like you can just put some ability to this sweater, but then you can just swap
Yeah.
that ability.
Yep, and appearances you can edit whenever you want in
That's
the gear
sick,
screen.
man.
The
Yeah,
room
let's
is
go.
specifically about applying.
Take. But he looks like my dog. We can't make my dogs right now for sure.
Oh, you could actually name them as well. So like your dog.
So getting back into that personalization, you know, yeah, we didn't want you to just like throw in, oh, here's a Graphorn in here. Like, this can be named whatever Andrew's about to name them. Bruce.
The good name.
You know, we've created this really nice space, and you can get additional vivariums, correct, to different kind of aesthetics and looks to where you're keeping
Yeah.
your beasts and caring for them.
Progression is a big part of this space as well. So as you progress through the story, you will unlock more vivariums. So as you can see, this one's quite meadow themed, big open,
All right, my bad.
bright. But there's other ones, say like a swamp that you might encounter. And it's really a visual effect to and more
Dirt
space
face, dude.
for your beast.
Oh, so it's like those. So when we're inside the room requirement, there's like on the left.
What's going on?
there's
Are
that
you like,
glow from one entrance and then some shrubbery.
this like
going
base
on on the
building
right.
stuff?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Ah. Oh, you put trees in here too. Oh my goodness.
And another thing with the beast care that I think is great,
Oh!
you know, tying back to this is the
Interesting.
same kind of thing that you did with like the broom, where the broom is not just a method of travel; it's actually built in and integrated into the world. In the same way, like beast care isn't just this added element. You're not just throwing it on top. There's really this like narrative and
what was it?
integration
Yeah.
to.
Okay, so that's like
Yeah,
your
everything's
house. Did
mixed.
I
So
miss
as you
that?
progress through the missions, you'll expand the space. As you
Oh yeah, we missed a little bit of that, I
That
think.
relationship with your beast.
Holy
In
crap,
addition to
bro!
be able to care for beasts, you can
What is
actually
that?
Conjure things in this space as well.
The house, the cottage.
Yeah, right. And so we have like a lot of little ornaments.
Interesting.
Progress in the game, and you're able to purchase more conjurations. You're able to speed up your process. So one of them, for example, is
Yeah, that looks pretty incredible, man. It does look really good. Again, I'll throw this in chat again just in case you guys want it. I mean, it's a long video, so I'm not going to spend an enormous amount of time on that. But I think it's probably a cool watch for people that are especially really hyped up about that title. So take a look. Yeah, very cool. Netflix adds 2 new games to its gaming service. The company announced the games in its end of 2022 recap video. Yeah, we heard about 12 minutes yesterday. We actually hit on that. But Kentucky Route Zero has been added as well. Kentucky Route Zero debuted in 2013 as a text-based point-and-click game that CNET editor Scott Stein calls immersive theater, but in game form. Plays a truck driver as he travels on Route Zero in Kentucky to make one last delivery for an antique shop. Yeah, and we hit on 12 minutes yesterday, but 12 minutes was released in 2021 and is a mystery with a time loop where the clock resets every, you guessed it, 12 minutes. Setting is a small apartment where you and your wife are winding down from date night when a police officer enters the room. The officer kills you and your wife, but then time resets. From there, you have to figure out a way to change the ending. Both are notable games to go to Netflix, so cool, man. Epic is delisting almost every Unreal game, but making Unreal Tournament 3 free. Epic is moving the exclusive support of its online services suite, and that means older games are gone. Epic Games announced today that it is switching off out-of-date online services and servers for a number of its older games, including the Rock Band and Unreal games, as it moves to exclusive support of Epic Online Services. Epic's Online Services SDK originated in Fortnite and handles everything from basics like friends list, voice chat, and matchmaking to more developer-focused functionality like inventory and purchase management, game analytics, and support requests. Earlier this year, it was expanded to include cross-play support, first with PlayStation and then between Epic and Steam. With that system now well established, Epic is moving to solely support Epic Online Services with its unified friend system, voice chat features, parental controls, and parental verification features. That means Epic's older online games are being cut loose. The good news is that most of those games will remain playable offline, either solo or with local multiplayer. Impacted games that will remain playable include 1000 Tiny Claws, Dance Central 1 through 3, Green Day Rock Band, Monsters Stole My Princess, Rock Band 1 through 3, The Beatles Rock Band, Supersonic, Acrobatic, Rocket-Powered Battle Cars. What a name, dude. What? Supersonic, Acrobatic, Rocket-Powered Battle Cars. Unreal Gold, Unreal 2 The Awakening, Unreal Tournament 2003, 2004, and Unreal Tournament 3, Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition. Those games will also be removed from sale on all digital storefronts, and in-game DLC purchases will be disabled. For some reason, Epic has also pulled the Mac and Linux versions of How to Fool Boyfriend and How to Fool Boyfriend Holiday Star, although it remains available for purchase on Steam. A handful of games will become completely inaccessible after the Switch is flipped. That includes Battle Breakers, which is shutting down on December 30th, and Rock Band Blitz, the Rock Band companion app, SingSpace, and the alpha version of the new Unreal Tournament that was announced in 2014, all of which will be closed on January 24th of 2023. Players who made purchases in Battle Breakers using Epic's direct payment system within the past 180 days will be given refunds automatically. The end of the online services for Unreal Tournament games isn't quite the same as it is for new shooters. Players can presumably still set up dedicated servers that others can connect to and play on, but without a master server list for server browsers to access. Players will need to know the IP of the server they want to join in order to get into a game. That's not really a problem for a group of friends who want to get together online for some UT2K4 action, Unreal Tournament 2K4 action, but it does mean that jumping into random pickup games is no longer an option. Epic is apparently bringing back Unreal Tournament 3. Originally released in 2007, Unreal Tournament 3 is fully free and cross-platform between Steam, EGS, and GOG. There's been no official announcement at this point, and Epic declined to comment further. The Unreal Tournament 3 Steam page was updated earlier today with a new name, description, and functionality. No microtransactions, no strings attached. This is fully featured. Award-winning first-person shooter you fell in love with, completely free. Cool. A release date for the new Unreal Tournament 3 hasn't been announced, and it's not currently listed on the Epic Games Store or GOG, but I would assume it'll drop fairly soon. We'll let you know when it does. All right. Let me hit this real quick. Guys, get your free games. You've got about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours before Saints Row 4 and Wildcat Gun Machine are no longer available for free on Epic. And the holiday, daily holiday free games are going to start. Meaning, every day from now till roughly the end of this month, Epic is going to be giving away free games every single day. But you have to grab them every single day within that 24-hour period. Because if you don't, you won't be able to grab them. It's like a 24-hour period for each game they give away for like roughly 2 weeks. Yeah, so be prepared. If you don't have an account, start an account. It's free games, man. That's all there is to it. Okay? It's free software. It's free games. And they give away some notably good titles on the constant anyways, but especially during the holiday giveaway. Okay, so get your Epic account, go in there and start grabbing your free games. Every day for like the next 2 weeks, get in there and get your games. I will keep promoting this every single day, every day that we're streaming over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to have a little bit of time off, so during the Christmas time here coming up, the holiday time, I'm going to have a few days off, and I'll be traveling, so but I'll do my best to make sure everybody's aware of these free titles coming, okay? Last one I have. Arc 2 Boss promises something which has never been done in video games. What's the secret? Drifting dinosaurs. Because obviously, this is the Fast and the Furious Dino Edition with Vin Diesel. Drifting dinosaurs, dude. The boss of Ark Survival Evolved and Ark 2 developer Studio Wildcard is making some big promises about what's next for the studio. It's hard to believe we are embarking on our 9th year with Ark, and I'm even more excited now than I was over 9 years ago when the idea was pitched. CEO Doug Kennedy says in a LinkedIn post, Ark 2 is in development, TV will be announced with a partner and out shortly, and we are embarking on something which has never been done in the 50 years of video games. At least we don't think it's been done. The future cannot be any more exciting for Ark and Ark 2. Kennedy is clearly being a bit tongue-in-cheek here, but the thought of something which has never been done in video games has been driving us batty here at the game's radar offices. Clearly, it's unclear whether this is in reference to Ark 2 or some other project, but the possibilities are mesmerizing. Is it Vin Diesel in a video game? No. It's been done. Is it Vin Diesel riding a dinosaur in a video game? He does drive some very old cars in the Wheelman. Is it an MMO that nobody complains about? That could be a first. Wait, no, I forgot about the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV. There was plenty of criticism about that game initially, by the way, so you're wrong. Final Fantasy XIV in its inception, its initial release, was a trash can until it got remade. Wait, 50 years of video games goes back to 1972, right? Calling it now. It's a remake of 1961's Space War, the most important game of all time. Ark 2 launches sometime in 2023 and is set to feature Souls-like melee combat. So, I don't know. We'll find out. There are a lot of people that love Ark Survival Evolved, the initial game, of this series. And a lot of people are hyped about the second one. And so, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel like Ark's one of those games that's like kind of, people are torn. A lot of people love it, and then a lot of other people are like, it's crap. Go play Rust. That's one of those sentiments that I've gathered from a lot of people. It's like either you like Rust and you hate Ark, or you like Ark and you hate Rust. I've never played either one of them, but I'm familiar with both. And that's usually what I've gathered from people. That's it, man. That's it. Them's the breaks. That's the news. We're going to move on to gameplay. So, happy Thursday. You guys keep grinding. The weekend's coming. You can do it, man. We're going to move on to our Breath of the Wild gameplay. We are going to be trying to grind probably some parts today. We need some Lionel horns. We need Guardian gears. We need stuff like that so we can upgrade some equipment. Keep doing some world searching, having laughs. That's a big part of what we do, so we'll keep doing all those things. But to everybody that was part of the news segment today, thank you very much. And to everybody that's part of this community, you're amazing. And I can't thank you enough for helping to create such an amazing place for me and us, all of us, to be a part of every single day. I don't know. Anybody that's viewing this content as a VOD later on, either on our Twitch page here or on our YouTube channel, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself and the rest of the amazing individuals that are part of this community when we go live at 6 o'clock a.m. CST every single day, and we start all of our streams off with video gaming news before we hop into whatever gaming content we have slated for the rest of the day, okay? Other than that, just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, And we will catch everybody tomorrow for December 16th edition of Video Gaming News and day 18 of our Breath of the Wild playthrough. All right?